Okay, this video really has nothing to do with the HasLab Rancor here. I just want to address one certain figure in my custom tier list for the HasLab Rancor if Hasbro wanted to reconstruct it in order to get the backers back and really make this thing profitable for them. And I'm not the only one that's actually talked about. There's so many people out there, so many discussions about this one figure that could really make it or break it for the HasLab project of the Rancor. Because I still feel like this thing's going to get back one way or another, especially once FOMO kicks in, the fear of missing out. I'm still backing it regardless, but I want to talk about this one said character. Okay, in my tier list, I mentioned that Luke Skywalker needs to be a part of it. So does the Gamorrean Guard and the Rancor Keeper. Those are three out of the four that I mentioned, and the one that really caught everybody's attention, it's the most controversial of the four that I had made mention, is number four, Oola. Yes, our slave girl from Return of the Jedi at the very beginning. The one that Jabba the Hutt dumps into the pit or the cave where the Rancor lies and became the very light snack for the Rancor. So, how do I defend what I said about Oola being a part of the Black Series, one way or another? I mean, she plays a part in Star Wars. She's history in Star Wars. That went wrong, but anyway, she's in the history books of Star Wars. She's a mainstay character because of her short-lived legacy that she left behind, but everybody seems to know a lot about Oola. So it would be a no-brainer for Hasbro to release Oola under the Black Series one day. And so many people keep coming back at me and telling me it's not possible because of Disney and their political correctness that they stand strongly by. And I understand. I agree. I totally agree that that's one of the big reasons why we haven't seen many certain characters from not just Star Wars, but from other Disney properties that have yet to be a part of some kind of action figure form. Yeah. But then I also have to think back to a couple years back when Hasbro made this announcement on their Twitter page. Hell, they actually did it on their site where there was this voting for a few characters to be reissued in the Black Series that people may or may not been able to acquire the first time around. And one of those names on that list, outside of just Ahsoka Tano and a few others I can't remember, was Slave Leia. Slave Leia was actually on that list, and this is when Hasbro had already, acquired everything of Star Wars. It was their property. They had to go and make a decision, right? They had to go and talk to Disney about this decision. And I'm sure at first they didn't agree with it. But I feel like this is also the reason why Slave Leia is no longer a thing. Instead, now she's become the badass, iconic character known as Hutt Slayer Leia. Because maybe it was the only way that Hasbro could actually put her in the vote. Just because of the name change, maybe that's how they were able to turn things around for Slave Leia. Because when you think about it, she is in a bikini, and she does show a lot of cleavage, and I don't know how well Disney will deal with that kind of thing, but I mean, if it's really all about just the slave name, then change it. I mean, Hasbro did that, and she was allowed to be a part of the vote, even though she didn't really get that many votes. So, unfortunately, all we have of Slave Leia is before Disney got a hold of Star Wars from George Lucas, which is right around when the Black Series was actually starting because they had already produced Slave Leia and they released her, and I do have her. She's with all my other Star Wars Black Series figures, so there's no FOMO there. I'm not missing out on Slave Leia because I do have the original, even if it is an ugly-looking facial likeness to Carrie Fisher. But, hey, it exists. And it would have been nice to get a reissue under the label Hutt Slayer Leia instead. and would have a better likeness to Carrie Fisher around the time because their face printing technology has gotten so much better with their face capture likeness to certain characters. And it would have been nice if we got maybe additional articulation or better paint applications or maybe even better material used for the fabric of her dress, because it frails away pretty quickly. That's the one problem that I've got with my Slave Leia figure, is that fabric really doesn't hold up with time. It just gets all over the place. But yeah, that's how I can see Oola actually happening in the Black Series. If she can't be a part of the Rancor because it's too late, but if Hasbro still wants to do Oola, all they got to do is just work a way around with it with Disney and just figure out what the problem is and correct it. Politically correct it. Instead of calling her like Slave Oola or something, just call her something else. Something that doesn't represent slaveness. You know, just something. Anything. And I know there's going to be a bunch of people that still agree and think they know more than me, and that's fine. It is what it is. But if you go and you look back, if you can find it, if you can find the article where they had the fan vote for the Black Series to have some reissues, and one of them in particular could have been Slave Leia, even though she was called Hut Slayer Leia, because it does exist. I'm sure somebody's got a photo somewhere on it. Maybe if you Google it a couple of pages, you may actually find it. But yeah, she was in the voting. She didn't win, but hey, at least she was there, and that's all that really matters. So it's the principle of the thing. I'm trying to prove a point here that maybe there is a light to the end of this tunnel here if you can just work around things with the IP owner. Maybe Hasbro can release Oola down the road. All they got to do is just be lenient. They got to be reasonable. They have to work out a way to make it happen in the eyes of, Disney, because they're the Lord and Master. They're the ones that own the IP. It's their choice. They get the final say, which is right. You're right about that. It's the final say with Disney. But it's not the be-all to end-all, is what I'm trying to say here. Okay? So, Oola could still happen. It can still happen. It's just how we go about getting her in the Black Series. We can demand her all we want, but it's not up to us. It's not us, the fans, the consumers, that get the final say. It's Disney. Maybe we can write to Disney or email them these days. Be polite about it. I don't think doing a petition would do anything, because sometimes they work, and a majority of the times they really lead nowhere. Even if you get the maximum amount of support that you need, it doesn't matter. Sometimes it still doesn't get looked at by bigger companies. But there are many ways it could happen still. Oola will be a part of the Black Series one day. I'm going to go ahead and put my guarantee on that. That's my guarantee stamp. We will see Oola. If not now with the Rancor, sometime in the future. She'll be a part of it. Especially if Disney ever decides to lighten up a little bit. Just a little bit. Okay, so that's it. That's all I really got to say about this video here. So if you have any questions or comments, if you agree or disagree, leave it all down below in the comment section of this video. And if you enjoyed this, hit the thumbs up, and don't forget to hit that bell notification icon to stay updated when I post videos on this channel, because it's a rare opportunity you actually get to see my face up close in your face on this channel. And until then, this is Red is Power signing off, saying thanks for watching, and I will see you whenever you see me.